I like to cook a lot.
What dishes you be whipping up?
I can really cook anything. I'm not gonna lie. I put myself probably top 5 best cooks on the team.
Really?
Yeah, like really anything. Like I see it, I can make it.
Yeah.
There's no way of explaining what it feels like to be on the field, just cause like all that practice and mental preparation that you do kind of just all goes away. I feel like when you step on the field, it's just like a completely different feeling. There's no way to explain what that adrenaline rush feels like. You just gotta kind of experience it.
And speaking about your dad and how influential he was to you playing football.
You know, he always wanted us to focus on school and be just as sharp students as we were athletes. And so he pulled Jonas from a basketball game and told him he couldn't play for the rest of the season until he got his C up to a B- or better when it came to school. Like there was no discussion over the weekends if we wanted to play video games. Like we had to read for as long as we wanted to play.
What's up, Who's Nation? Welcome back to another episode of The Fifth Side. I'm your host, UVA DB Donovan Platt, and today we have a very special guest, Charlottesville finest, Lukas Sanker. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Appreciate you for having me.
Man. Good to have you on. You know, it's been a good time here in Charlottesville for you so far. Tell me about, you know, what's been the biggest adjustment coming in to this UVA culture so far.
I feel like for me, there wasn't really a big jump from high school to college in terms of just structure and operations within like a team or a school. I went to a boarding school in high school, and I felt like coming in last summer, that transition was really smooth, and you know there wasn't a lot of bumps, but I enjoyed helping some of my other teammates overcome some of those humps, like being away from home and being in a more structured environment. I think a lot of those challenges for me came more when it came to just like on the field, learning the playbook type of stuff, but as far as like a organizational structure and how things operate at UVA, I felt like I was really prepared coming from high school.
For sure. And speaking about those on the field adjustments, tell me the biggest difference between the high school playing field and the college playing field.
It's different for sure. I mean, like the speed of the game, the size of everybody, you got to be locked in every play because if you're not, the offense is going to take advantage of you. Slacking off or just being lackadaisical out there. So just, you go from being the best player on your high school team to, being a guy on a team with a lot of guys that are super talented. And, that's definitely not easy, but so it's just like getting back to square one and finding ways to learn, get better, and just try to adjust.
Yeah, and you speak about, being back to square one, making that name for yourself here at Virginia. Tell me a little bit about that recruiting process and how that was coming into Virginia.
Yeah, so for me, recruiting out of high school was definitely chaotic. Like my story was all over the place. I think I had 15 Division I offers going into my senior year. I got my first Power 4 offer at the end of my junior year from Duke. I went down, had a really good camp, and I was actually really excited about the school. I really wanted to go there, I can't lie. And then I was supposed to take an official visit over the summer. I never did. And then I took a visit in September for like the UNC game and was down there. But I just lost communication with them throughout the fall. And so we just stopped talking. And I quickly realized that, I was gonna need to find another school that I really wanted to be at. And so in December, I took an official visit to Harvard, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. They did a really good job on the visit. But I always saw myself as a higher level football player. But at the time, I felt content, satisfied, because I really just wanted an opportunity to play somewhere. And I wanted that school to have a good balance of academics and athletics and, be somewhere where I could see myself being for the next 4 years. And so to get into Harvard, it's actually like surprisingly, it's a tough process. They got their academic standards, and then I hadn't taken any standardized tests, and so I had to take an ACT, and so the next one that was available was in March, so I was going to have to wait to March to figure out if I was going to get in or not, and so it was definitely a stressful time for me. A lot of prayer, a lot of thought, a lot of, asking for advice from people that I really trusted. But, eventually I took the test. I did well. I got into Harvard and committed there. And I felt good about my decision. I was really excited. And then UVA reached out to me maybe the second week of April, my senior year.
Wow.
And, they had an opportunity for me to come and be a part of the team, and, we're going to take care of me. And I felt like UVA was going to, it sounds now like it was an easy decision, but, there was definitely a lot of thought that went into it. But I just felt like UVA was going to be able to develop me better as a football player, but then also had that strong academics, and just there was more balance there than Harvard, because Harvard I felt like had really, really strong academics and weaker athletics, whereas UVA had, strong for both. But obviously, they don't have the Harvard name associated with their academics, but, UVA is still a top 10 school in the country. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, going into your first, I guess, months and year here at UVA, who has been someone that you think has really helped you, come into the culture and assimilate well and be able to, pick up on things fast?
Funny enough, Chadwick was probably one of the people that helped me most when I first got here, just learning the playbook. Those questions that you're kind of too scared to ask at the beginning when you first get here because you don't want to be laughed at or whatever. He will always have answers for me. He'll always give me rides, drive me to and from the dorm. Ask me if I needed anything in a way that was like it didn't feel like it was forced. Yeah. So, it was nice to have him there. And then a lot of my other freshman teammates, we all kind of just looked out for each other the first couple months we were here and still do. And I felt like we had a really tight-knit freshman group. So, yeah. And
looking back over your first year, a part of the UVA football team, tell me some highlights and some moments that you were really excited about, that were able to, make your experience good.
Obviously the FSU game was fire. I didn't get to play in the game, so it doesn't really have the same feeling. But I remember we went out to California. That was my, I think one of the first away games I went to. But I just remember that whole trip was super fun. We flew out, and then I was starting on punt return that game, me and JoJo, and one of the plays, like both of us had the gunners up in the air and just like dumped them on the ground, and we came off, and Coach Brown was going crazy, and Coach Gaither. But yeah, that was fun. I had like an assisted tackle when we played Washington State. That was cool. Yeah. That was the first time I think that was first or second snap I ever had on the field. And I just remember like, there's no way of explaining what it feels like to be on the field, just because like all that practice and mental preparation that you do kind of just all goes away. I feel like when you step on the field, it's just like a completely different feeling. There's no way to explain what that adrenaline rush feels like. You just got to kind of experience it.
Yeah, it's all instincts. It's all instincts that take over. And it's nothing like, being a freshman, getting out there and being able to contribute, especially to a winning season like we had last year. It feels good, and I know it does. Me as a freshman, I was able to do some of the same things. And it's an unexplainable feeling to be able to just, get your feet wet in college football, get that first hit, that first tackle, that first special teams rep, whatever it may be. And then, Coach Gaither, that special teams, that's one of the fastest ways to get on the field here. So that's something that, the freshmen, and he preaches that they should take pride in. And really every player, whether you're a freshman, or at the top of the depth chart, anybody should, take pride in that and use that as a vehicle to, get you on the field, get more playing time, and also to change the game and be that winning edge. Tell me about playing under Coach Gaither and that special teams presence that he preaches.
Yeah, I remember first coming in and fall camp ending, and I played a lot of scout team at the beginning of the year, and obviously it's like not where you want to be at, but I talked to my older brother about it a lot, and you know, he was a guy that dominated on special teams, and he told me that, you know, find ways to show off your athleticism and, you know, do whatever you can to make a way to get on the field, because, you know, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It'll get you a spot on the bus, and, you know, ultimately just helps you kind of feel like you have a purpose on the team, just because, you know, as a freshman, when you're not playing much, you're not contributing much. Even a lot of the freshmen aren't traveling. Like, it's, you kind of feel detached from the team. And so it kind of, being on special teams, you know, can give you a purpose past just playing in practice. So I wanted to, you know, have an opportunity, and then once I was in that role, just maximize it and find ways to help our team win.
So last year you were coming into a room that, you know, had a lot of experience in the DB room. Tell me some of the things that you learned from being behind those type of guys as a young freshman.
I say the biggest things I learned was probably just a lot of the time technique. It's not all about technique when you're playing. A lot of stuff is just instincts, like you said earlier. I don't know. I mean, I think hearing stories and experiences from guys who have played a lot of football is important, just to help guys, you know, kind of understand what it takes to be successful. And I think ultimately, like, the best way of learning is from experience. Like, I found for myself, learning the plays, learning all that stuff, the best way for me to learn was, you know, getting reps and walkthroughs or in practice. And because, you know, it's one thing to look at a screen or a diagram or whatever, where, you know, you're watching someone else do it or you're seeing it drawn up on the board, but to really, you know, walk through it and visualize it and see where your eyes are supposed to be, you know, I think that really helped me to learn. But then also, I'd say from guys specifically, we had a lot of different personalities last year.
Indeed.
I ain't learned too much.
I mean, you learned something. I think you did. I think it's more so a thing where you're able to recall it once you get on the field.
Yeah.
I think that might be a thing because, like you said, we did have a lot of personalities, a lot of guys that, I wouldn't say did their own thing, but guys that had their own specialty and were different in that way and how they played the game. But yeah, I mean, you had some vets to look up to. You know, Devin Neal. That was somebody that I, you know, still even look up to and talk to. I talked to him the other day about, you know, how it's going with the Jaguars, stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting group. But one that was definitely, I feel like, very professional and workmanlike, and, you know, wanted to improve each and every day that came in. So tell me about who was the hardest receiver for you to guard in practice.
Last year or this year?
Tell me both, yeah.
Last year, man, Trell was hard to guard. Trell was so fast. Wham was fast. Yeah, but last year probably Trell or Wham.
Okay.
You know, they were fast, created good separation. Yeah, I mean, they're polished receivers for sure. This year, probably Dede, Deshaun Martin, fast. He's so twitchy. He accelerates fast out of his breaks. I remember the other day, like, we were doing 7-on-7 out here, and he caught a dig, and I wasn't, like, running full speed, but I was just going to tag him off, and he just took off. Like, he's fast.
Yeah,
I'll probably give it to Dede right now. I haven't guarded everybody, but from the guys that I've guarded, probably Deshaun.
For sure, yeah. And, I mean, that's one of the things that only makes us better as DBs, because whenever we're able to have a receiver that really challenges us in practice, it pays that much more dividends come game day, and kind of makes the game feel so much easier because you're like, okay, wow, in the game it's this or that, like, it's straight up. So it definitely slows the game down once you.
And I know our receivers probably, I mean, definitely feel that same way, just because, you know, like, when you're getting strapped up all practice, like, and game day comes around and y'all are finally making some catches, it's like, oh my gosh, like.
Yeah, indeed. Tell me about your relationship with the coaches in terms of, Coach Cox, Coach Brown, Coach Rudd, and then the rest of the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, when I first got here, I think it was hard for me to have a closer relationship with some of the coaches because, they didn't really recruit me as heavily in high school until later. I mean, I knew Coach Cox just because, Jonas was here and I would come pretty frequently to watch Jonas play. I'd never really spoken much to Coach E. I talked to Coach Rudd on and off. And Coach Brown is a character. He's a character. But, I feel like some of my favorite coaches in the building are the strength coaches. I feel like they're very, consistent always. They don't have anything to do with any of the politics side of football. And, they always push everybody in there to work hard. They hold everybody to the same standard. And yeah, so I've really, really enjoyed working with the strength coaches and the nutrition staff and, like, honestly, everybody in the building. Everyone's in there doing their job, positive, doing everything they can to support us. So, yeah.
When the rivalry heats up, so do the specials. Game is on at Trophy Room, Charlottesville's highest rooftop bar, your go-to spot to catch every college basketball showdown. With limited time game day menus, all at the Graduate by Hilton Charlottesville, located right across from UVA's historic grounds. The Graduate brings Cavalier tradition to life with newly renovated, college-inspired interiors. Whether you're in town for a game, a weekend in Seaville, or just looking for the best view in the city, this is the place to be. Great atmosphere, great food, and a perfect home base for Wahoo fans. Check out Graduate by Hilton Charlottesville.
So going back to the beginning, being a Charlottesville native, growing up, who first got you into football?
Man, I feel like we were playing football before we even moved to Charlottesville. We used to live in Colorado, and I feel like that was the first time I remember me, my three older brothers, and my dad playing football. I was younger. I was maybe 4 or 5, but just, throwing the football around in the backyard. We would go on walks as a family and always carry a football with us. I mean, we kind of just, back then there was no phones. We didn't really play video games. Like, everything we did was just active, riding bikes outside, playing on our basketball hoop, throwing the football. We would just run around the backyard, tackle each other, chase each other. So I feel like, we've always been a sports-oriented family. And just having other older brothers playing football kind of got me into football. Just because, since I'm not the oldest, there was always someone older than me that, was playing football. So, ever since I can remember anything, like, I remember football.
Yeah. And speaking about your dad and the impact that he's had over your football career, tell me more about, how influential he was to you playing football.
I mean, yeah, my dad played football in college. All of my older brothers played football in college. But, what's really interesting about him was he always tried to take sports out of everything for us because I think he always knew we were athletically gifted and talented, but, he always wanted us to focus on school and be just as sharp students as we were athletes. And so I actually remember, I think when Jonas and Nick were in middle school or something, he pulled Jonas from a basketball game and told him he couldn't play for the rest of the season until he got his C up to a B- or better.
Yeah.
And so, like, he really was, like, about it when it came to school. Like, there was no discussion over the weekends if we wanted to play video games. Like, we had to read for as long as we wanted to play. And, he was very always on top of things, very, very strict.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wasn't ever like oh, you guys need to go train, you need to go work out, you need to go do this to make sure, you guys are preparing yourself to play at that next level. Like, I think he always knew that we were going to be enough self-motivated and, having each other to push each other would be enough motivation that we needed rather than him kind of always needing to be on top of us. Because, I mean, it's funny, like, working the camps here, like, you see a lot of parents that are very invested in their kids and, believing that their kids are the greatest thing ever. But he was definitely never anything like that. He wanted us to be good students, and I mean, he knew we were good athletes, so he didn't really push us much in that aspect.
Yeah. And man, growing up in a household, what, 4 boys? Oh, no, 5 boys.
6 boys.
6 boys.
And 1 girl.
I feel and 1 girl. So tell me, like, I feel bad for your mom. Like, how was that? How did she feel when she was raising all y'all?
She was definitely stressed. I mean, I think both of my parents were stressed a lot, but it's just like a busy house always. Usually like at least 2 or 3 people in the kitchen trying to go through the pantry trying to find something to eat. But one thing I enjoyed about growing up with a big family was, like, at the end of the day, we would always sit down and eat dinner together, which was just a time that I think, like, some of the best conversations we had as a family happened at the dinner table. People would laugh, joke around. But it was nice that, everyone has a busy day where we're all doing our own thing. We would just sit down and have dinner together, and then we would do the dishes and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was busy. It was hectic. There was a lot going on, busy schedules. But I mean, now that I feel like we've all grown up a lot, it's like the best thing in the world to have such a tight-knit support group who really cares about you. And I mean, there's nothing more loyal to me than family. And so, I love having a big family.
Yeah. And tell me about that competitive nature that I'm sure had to come out, and that it was breeded in a family like that, being all that testosterone under one roof. tell me what you like, what you took from that, what you learned from that.
Yeah, it was like everything was always a competition. It was like, who could do this the fastest? Who could do this the best? Who could? I mean, like, playing video games is a competition. If you lose, or if you win, you beat someone else, like, they might want to fight you. Like, pillow fights. Like, everything just got pushed to the extreme.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it definitely made us better. We were all competitive. And we were all also very smart. And so, yeah, it was, I'm trying to think back. It was always somebody comparing something to, like, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And obviously, Jonas, your brother, who's in the NFL now, a UVA grad. Tell me about what he has taught you, coming through UVA so far, and then also the tips he's giving you when it comes to football. Other than just be that dog. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like as Jonas has gotten older, he's become a lot more personable. Growing up, he was kind of closed off a lot. I mean, in high school, he was very, very energetic, and as he got to college, it kind of felt like he closed himself off a little more and just kind of was to himself. It didn't ever feel like he needed to be part of a crowd or anything, whereas in high school, he kind of led that crowd. But I feel like as he's left college, and he has a little more stability in his life right now. But Jonas is like one of those people that's never satisfied with what he has, and but neither is he like super materialistic. But I feel like the advice that he gives me is just ask a lot of questions. Don't be scared to ever feel like you look dumb, and don't worry about other people's opinions on you or what you're doing, and just stay true to your path and how you do things. Just because, like, my story out of high school, being recruited late and all that, it was just crazy how everything happened. But he tells me that there's guys on his team on the Saints that didn't get an opportunity to play in college till their 3rd, 4th year of college and went crazy, and now they're in the NFL, and it's like there's no looking back, and now it's just move forward. So just finding ways to get better and work on your craft and just not be end result driven and just be process oriented.
So growing up, obviously football was a big part of the picture. What other sports were you involved in that allowed you to develop in football as well?
First sport I ever played was football, and then in 8th grade, one of my teachers like told me I should try wrestling, and so I think I was like 120 pounds. I wrestled on the varsity team, and so we wrestled a bunch of teams across the state, and I was pretty good at it. I was like a all-conference wrestler. And then 9th grade was COVID, and so I lived in Charlottesville for the first 6 months of my 9th grade year, and then we moved to Florida. But I played a little bit of baseball, but I ended up moving, so I didn't really get to play much. And then 10th grade, our football season got cut short because our coach quit after 3 games. And that's when
y'all was stressing them out.
We was getting blown out every game. But, I mean, that's when I really knew I needed to transfer. I wanted to start somewhere new. And, just be surrounded by people that were more like-minded. I felt like kind of isolated at a school like Covenant. But at Woodbury, I ran track and played football and enjoyed all of it. So
getting into some off the field stuff that you get into, obviously you're more than a football player. Tell me about, some music that you've been listening to lately. You seem like a Drake guy to me.
Drake's all right. I mean, I feel like I like a lot of Drake's older music. I listen to a lot of Rilo Rodriguez.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of Real Boston Richie.
Solid.
But yeah, I feel like I've been listening to them too probably the most right now. I like The Weeknd a lot too.
Okay.
Maybe like when it gets dark outside.
What does that mean?
I mean, just like when I'm like chilling,
Yeah.
like probably less so than, when I'm around the facility or whatever. But yeah, when I'm just chilling by myself, I like The Weeknd.
What pregame song is your go-to that you have to listen to?
Go-to pregame song? Run This Town by Jay-Z.
Okay.
I like that song a lot. I feel like growing up, I watched a lot of those like college football pump-up videos.
Yeah.
And that was like one song that was always on the videos. So I always try to throw that song in the rotation of the songs I'm listening to. But I mean, obviously, you always got like a playlist that's rotating, so it really depends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got you. And then going into a typical off day for Lukas Sanker. Obviously, during the summer, you have more time to yourself and be able to chill in the afternoons. Tell me about what you use your time on in this off-season period.
It honestly depends on the days. Like some days, you get done with workouts and you're tired. You want to just sit in the bed all day. I like to cook a lot, so I've been trying to like cook some different stuff. But yeah, I mean, I hang out with my friends, my roommates, just kick it, play the game, watch TV. I've been going fishing with Corey and JoJo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when it's hot out, I really don't like being outside, like when it gets real, real hot. But yeah.
Yeah. And then speaking about cooking, tell me what dishes you be whipping up.
I could really cook anything. I'm not gonna lie. I put myself probably top 5 best cooks on the team.
Really?
Yeah. I like to bake a lot. I make a lot of cookies, brownies. I mean, I cook pasta, breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
Like really anything. Like I see it, I can make it.
Yeah. Now, when did you get into cooking? Is that something that's new, or you've been doing this?
I've been cooking since like probably 4th grade, 5th grade.
Okay.
I took a cooking class going into 6th grade, and one of my teachers was like a former NFL player who played overseas in Italy. So he had like a Italian cooking class. We made pasta from scratch. We made like bruschetta. We made homemade pesto, and ever since that, like I just, with a big family at home, you end up helping out a little bit and finding dishes that people like to eat. And, I felt like one way I could always impress my siblings was, making something good and everyone was excited to eat it. So, yeah.
For sure. Now tell me about some of your teammates. Tell me who you would say is the funniest on the team.
Funniest on the team?
Yeah.
It's hard. Like some people are some are funny to just like watch them, how they're acting.
Yeah.
Some say really out of pocket funny things.
Yeah.
Funniest on the team probably, Probably Jam.
Jam.
Yeah, Jam
it's
is
gotta
hilarious.
It's gotta be Jam.
Or
I don't know if Jam got any brain cells left. Like it get to that point. It's like wow.
Who else funny though?
I mean, last year you had JP who was funny, but that's because he was always doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Devin Neal was funny.
He was just
yeah.
I can't. Yeah, Jam is the first person that came to mind. Jam probably the funniest on the team
for sure. Just because his antics,
and
all the stuff that he be doing on the side in the weight room, everything. So, so moving forward, the season coming up, this construction phase that we're in is going to be over soon. And we'll be in the fall camp and getting into the first game. Tell me something that is a goal for you coming up for this season.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see the field more, find ways to make some more plays, get my name out there a little bit more. Obviously I'll play a lot of special teams and, hopefully in some of those games where, we're doing well or, just even find a way to rotate, just make a way to be ready once my name is called and find ways to, make plays when I'm out there and be prepared.
Yeah. And speaking of that, tell me one of the biggest things that you feel like you've improved on since you've been here at UVA.
I mean, I've rotated between playing corner and nickel. I know you played a lot of nickel in the spring, but I think my feet have improved a lot. I think coming into college, I thought I was a lot more prepared than I was. Also just, knowledge for the game, understanding scheme, understanding what offenses are going to do and not just what our job is. So just overall understanding of the game. And then I think my man technique has improved a lot. Also just, understanding the playbook, stuff like that. It's just going to go over time. But I think now that I'm in college, I think I realize that there's a lot more to know and you don't ever know as much as you think you do. So I think just being humble and accepting the coaching and just trusting that they know what they're talking about just because, they're coaches and so they probably do. But,
most of the time.
Sometimes.
Most of the time they do, for sure. And speaking about technique, obviously, the fans at home, they don't really know too much about, well, most of them, some of them do, but most of them don't know too much about the technique that goes into playing DB at this level and even higher. Tell them some stuff about the technique that they might not know.
What do you mean?
Just, go into technique, like in terms of, you said man tech, zone technique. Tell me some of the things that you've learned that make that big of a difference in the game of football.
I mean, I think our defense we play a lot of vision-based stuff. In high school, you play zone, and I think probably 100% of the time, even when I'm still playing zone, I was trying to watch routes and look at receivers and just, I think eye discipline is super important when you get to college because things are happening so fast. But then also just zone turning at the right time to be able to keep vision and, playing through hands, playing through the man, being top shoulder on a post route, like all those little things are super important. But, the average fan that's watching the game is not going to pick up on those small things.
Right.
But, so it's so much that goes into playing DB. You're playing backwards the whole game. And also just like for the fans that have no idea what's going on a lot of the time, they'll see one thing happen on the field, try to blame the DB, and it's not always our fault. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot that goes into every play. Pre-snap, you're making your reads, you're seeing what type of formation they come out in. What Coach Cox says, give me 5, down and distance, formation. What else? I mean, location on the field, those types of things are all, super important to understanding, what type of play call we can get from the offense and just being prepared and ready to go at every snap.
Exactly. And then also, like you said, knowing past concepts. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned since I've been in college. And I think the faster that you learn those past concepts, the easier the game is because you know what to expect. The thing about college, from what I've seen, is everything is pretty much universal. You know, there might be different ways to get to it in each team, but for the most part, everything is pretty universal, and everybody's gonna run the same type of concepts. And it's all about, like you said, personnel, who they have on the field, alignment, and you know, just learning that and handling on it and spending that time in the film room to feel like you're prepared and know that you're prepared to be able to make plays on the ball. So going into this year, what are you most excited about with this UVA football team of 2026?
I mean, I was most excited for the Brazil game. But,
yeah, they got wiped.
Realistically,
they got wiped. They ain't want the cartel to snatch you up, so we couldn't do that. Yeah.
I think I'm excited to see the stadium packed, deep. You know, have all our students back. You know, right now campus is pretty quiet. It's pretty dead. So just, you know, that feeling of playing in the stadium in front of your home crowd is special for sure. And, you know, throughout the season, the team gets closer and closer, especially once we start to realize that, like, with each game that we play, it's one less that we're going to play together. And then, obviously, the bowl game comes around or playoffs or whatever. But, you know, once that is over with, like, that team will never be together again. And so, yeah, just being together, having all those moments that you're not necessarily looking forward to that are special, like, you know, funny things that happen at the movies at an away game or just like those little moments, you know, are always super, super fun. So, but I mean, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to see us play well and win games and, you know, hopefully get back to the ACC championship, win it, and, you know, have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the main goal. And I think one of the main ways that we get to that is having that culture and having that culture of excellence and high standards and not letting that dip. What are your thoughts on the culture here at UVA?
I think the culture is strong. You know, there's guys that are, you know, we have a standard and the standard is set, and when expectations are not met, I feel like, you know, the coaching staff, the strength staff does a good job of holding people accountable. But I think since as a whole, you know, people are doing a good job of holding the standard, that, you know, you don't want to be the one person that's, you know, you'll really stick out if you're not, you know, doing what you're supposed to be doing. So no one wants to be that guy. And, you know, Coach E's done a really good job of speaking wisdom into us and, you know, helping us be prepared in every aspect of life and not just football. Yeah.
And to the fans, what is your message to them for when you get your opportunity? What can they hope to see and look to see once you get on that field?
Just be ready.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
be ready. Be ready. I got you. But yeah, and then also to leave it off, what's one of the main things that you want to improve on, you know, going into this coming season?
Yeah, I feel like something I've been trying to improve on is just playbook, understanding the playbook, understanding checks, understanding route concepts, like you were saying, like knowing what to expect. And then being out there, being able to confidently communicate everything. You know, just not having any hesitation at all when you're out there, just being able to play fast, play smooth, and just execute at a high level.
Well, Who's Nation, thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of The Fifth Side. Lukas, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was a good episode, man. I think the fans are really going to enjoy this one. So we'll see y'all later.